can I get?
I know. I was like, she looks at it, she's like. Okay, we're gonna start with like some of the normal team meeting stuff. So we're gonna start with bucket fills and something good. What do we got? You guys, number one, Kirill is staying at the Wild for an exorbitant amount of money, which is insane. And if you believe you can't do something, think again, because he is now the highest paid NHL player. And he literally has never played a full season. Wrap your brain around that one. Like, for real. Anyways, all my hockey people don't even know that game.
I'm really impressed with Derek's goatee.
It's even more though than a go. I mean, it's like the whole thing.
Yeah, it's like, no.
Thank you.
Like he came back a different person, facial hair and everything.
I scoped it out online. I was like, I feel like he's doing something in those pictures that Tara was posting. And then in real life, I was like, he is. He is. He
I
is.
told my buddies I'm going native this season. Native.
Oh yeah, I see the other.
Okay.
photos.
Okay.
And it's dark. It's like not old man white. It's.
Derek, see?
What are you trying to say?
Oh, I get it, Chad.
What's the bucket fill besides Derek's beard? Goatee, whatever they call it in man world.
Thanks to Kevin and Candy for getting me on the Lake Superior MLS. For some reason, that's where my business is right now. So
Yeah, you got a few things there.
yeah, I'm not sure why, but
Hey, you know what? Business is business, right? What else? What else is good? Guys, we're doing business planning. We need good stuff right now.
Oh my God, it's not real estate related.
That's okay.
My mom had her surgery for her breast cancer and they saw everything and it didn't go into the lymph nodes or anything. So far, so everything.
That is amazing. That's amazing news. Super cool.
The kind of bucket fills we like.
Yeah, those are the really good ones. What else?
Gold started writing.
Sure did. What do we think of Hudson? I love Hudson. Just the
Well,
best.
first you ask and then you tell what you think. That's the first.
I just love
I
Hudson.
kind of really like you.
I mean, if you don't have to like him. Some people might not like him. He's got a lot of energy, like lots of energy. So if you don't like that. Yeah, but that would be like, I feel like I would be if I had 6 children. But, all right, moving on then.
I'll give one more. It is the end of September and it's like summer has come again.
There's sun. There's
Oh,
sun for
it's
you.
So great.
It's hot out.
Yes.
You're feeling good.
Yeah, it's been wonderful.
So we got you a few more weeks before
That's right.
before you jump ship again. That's awesome. All right, so October is here. That is fourth quarter, everybody. So we are starting fourth quarter. I would like part of this business planning in a little bit is really to reflect on where you feel like you are, right? Because anything that's going to come in now is probably going to be from quite a while ago if it's closing by the end of this year, right? Like, I mean, that's just kind of how business works. So as we're planning today, I want you to think about where do you want to be in January, right? Because this fourth quarter, you can still get now business for sure, right? But a lot of that's coming from what you've done in the past. So just think about that as you're thinking of these trainings as well, because I mean, John and I talked about it a little bit of leadership time, and our team and I talked about it a little bit. There are a lot of trainings right now, like a lot of trainings. And what I'm getting from just, our office, other offices, other brokerages, is everyone is kind of like training out. And I would ask yourself, what do you need for you personally and professionally right now in trainings? And what do you need to be able to implement, right? Because the things that are coming up in the next few months are very, very much like, they're geared towards like letting you work through the holiday season and through fourth quarter, right? And shifting mindset, getting more business for the new year and end of year. So we've been very conscious on what we're putting on the calendar. So I just want you guys to be aware of that. We're not just putting things on to put them on. It is very purposeful. So we have Bold, obviously, that, again, if you're still interested, I think there's still room, quite honestly. It will be a great opportunity in October, kind of leading into November and December. we have our lead gen workshop on Thursday, which is 2 days from now. That's 6 CE credits, which is, I feel like, just a bonus. The other piece of that, it's workshop style. So you bring your computer, you learn, he shows you, you do it. Okay, and that's just making sure that you get everything on your Google page right, where you can talk about how you get better kind of exposure on Google. And then the second class, or it's split into 2 classes. The second class is actually how to get more leads for free. He has great success on agents getting leads immediately from that class. If you're listening and doing it how he's showing you to do it, right? I think anyone would love more leads for free and get CE all at the same time. So if you have not signed up yet, sign up with this QR code. Zoom does not get CE credits. It's also $10 more. And the $40 in person is most likely going to be switched to this venue, by the way. So if that was what?
Oh, nothing. I was just saying, we don't know. Most likely, you said, yeah.
That will be decided today versus the St. Louis Park Rec Center. So if that's a determining factor, just know that that is potentially it's going to be moved to our market center. Maureen, did you have a question? Oh, okay.
How do we get it moved here? Just kidding.
We'll help you.
That's right. It sure would be simple.
Any questions around this? Who's all going to this? The other piece is if you can't do the whole day, that's okay. You have to sign up and you still have to pay $40 for the whole day, right? But if you can only go for the morning from 9 to 12, that's still worth going from 9 to 12, right? Like we can't split the classes in payment wise. Or if you can only come from 12:30 to 3:30, only show up from 12:30 to 3:30 because they are going to be counted separately for 3 CEs and 3 CEs. So just in case that's something that you're questioning. Any other questions? Yeah.
On here it says recording of the workshop. Is that worth getting, or the market center get it, or how's that working?
Well, most likely if it's here, I'm guessing we'll record it on our own.
Like one of the options on the tab.
I can take really great notes if it's extra money and just send them out. I don't know. I didn't know that was an option on there. Cause the Eventbrite is not our Eventbrite. It's actually Michael. It's the instructor's Eventbrite. So, I don't know. I'm not sure everything that was on there. And if you have any issues, let me know so that I can get a hold of him, and his assistant. All right. Anything else? And don't forget your laptop. Bring your laptop, your whatever you work from, bring that here because you're going to be doing the thing. So make sure that that's here. Like the one time you're not gonna get yelled at for having your laptop at CE, it's gonna be great.
Oh, on that note, make sure it's charged, because there's only so many.
Oh yeah, that's a great great point.
Yeah.
Again, I know that we are I'm apologizing in advance that we throw a lot of trainings at you. However, these 2 trainings together would be, quite honestly, pretty epic, right? So this is the following week. This is actually a regional training that is being put on. And if you've ever been to any of Family Reunion, Mega Camp, or any of the large trainings of international, all of these people that are coming in person are incredibly heavy hitters in the KW world and in real estate in general. Dana in the wealth building portion, she just crushes at that. Ken is like AI now, and everyone that doesn't want to do it is going to have another person that's like Ken when nobody wanted to do YouTube like 5 years ago, and Ken just completely dove into YouTube, and now he is like well known. People move to Orlando just because of Ken and what he does on his YouTube channel. So if you want to go take a look at that, and I encourage you to go back when he was doing it like as a baby YouTuber, right? Because he grew his business by, I think it was like 2 years or something like that on a YouTube channel. I think he has like 65 million followers now. And every single thing that he posts, he says that he gets at least like 10 to 20 leads from it. So, it's just, even if you don't want to do YouTube, it's a matter of like choose your thing and then just dive into it and commit to it, right? And he wasn't great at it at first. So, and then the other two, again, it's more of the wealth building and leveraging, and AI. So when you take your Google, you have that up and running after your C classes, and then here's another place that you can implement all of that into the other items that these people are doing. So, this one is $169, right? So it's a little bit more just because of who's gonna be there. And I still encourage you to go there. I'm going there, Heather's going there. I don't know who else from our market center is signed up right now. But if it's something that maybe you aren't gonna go to Fam Reunion, maybe you aren't gonna go to Mega Camp, right? You at least get to hear them here for a lot cheaper, than what you do in those spaces. Any questions around that at all? John, do you have anything to say about that?
No.
No.
You said it all. No, I mean, it's great. Those people are all fantastic. You should, $169, it's well worth it.
It does go up after today, just an FYI. All right, any questions from anybody else on that one? Okay. Let's go back to the training calendar. Did I miss anything for the month? No, we've got amazing, movies for Halloween. Which meeting? Is it the 28th that we're doing the costumes? Because now that we're at the beginning of the month, I need to just prep you on this. I noticed that no one put it in there. Heather was the first one to chuckle slightly, but per, my tradition, anytime I can dress up, I am so all in, okay? So on the 28th, we are gonna have our costume. What do we call it? A costume contest, costume party. You can wear your costume all day. I seem to love to do that. So anyways, team meeting, show up in your costume that day. It's gonna be fantastic. They'll have to run some errands in it. It's all good. Who's gonna have a costume? Who already has their Halloween costume? Yes, I knew I liked you. Who else? Nobody else has even thought about Halloween costumes yet? Should we go with scary this year, or should we go with fun?
I gotta be fun.
You're scary. Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
my mini me are full Pennywise.
Did you see my costume? I'm gonna have to share that with you later. Oh, we did this last year. It was so great. Heather was terrified. All right, and then R&R. Do we know where the R&R is this year or this month? No, we don't. Okay, moving on. All right, who's ready to get started with this business planning?
Yes.
Yeah? All right, well, before we start, I want everyone to give me a win for their business this year. Everybody that's here. What's one win in your business this year? Oh, Jerry. Win. What else? Who else has a win? Everyone's gonna share. Maureen.
Here was the most I've ever made. My business is the first time. I've capped most years I've been here, but this is the first time I've capped and actually then made money afterwards.
And then cap again, right? Awesome.
Congratulations.
I got a text. This is my win for a business. This is what makes me so happy. Hello, Kevin. Thinking of you. I got this week. I should have shared it with my gratitude. But hello, Kevin. Thinking of you with gratitude today, and wanted to let you know. 2 years ago, Monday the 29th, I moved from not my house to my townhome. So this was like a divorce situation. Everything. Thank you for helping me find it and making it happen. Every single day, I'm grateful I live here. It's just perfect.
Aw, I love that. All right, what's another win for your business?
People's winning my.
Win? Lots of people's wins. What else?
Referrals.
Nice. Those are always great. What else? Wins for business this year. That's what we're starting.
Are people afraid of you? Did you already address this? I mean, look at this room. This is insane. Like Derek's not afraid of you, but everyone else is.
Why is anyone?
There's no one in
I'm
this,
not even in
there's
costume.
no one in the first
Like, I'm not.
2.5 rows.
That's normal.
So we have no front row students at Keller Williams.
I mean, you're the pose.
I'm not gonna go out there.
I know.
No, you think, yeah.
All right, what's the win in your business this year? The win does not have to be huge. It could be any win in your business. I want this is a participation. We're gonna get our minds going if we're gonna be planning for next year.
I'm tired of having people like now text me and call me, hey, you're doing real estate, right? Here's this person. And then,
You're no longer a secret agent.
yeah, I would,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, I love it. What else?
I've had a mind shift, like just thinking about it differently.
Yeah. Love it. Love it. Anyone else?
Remember I mentioned that I met a guy, because of my dog and my motorcycle. So that one of those, so there's 3.5 transactions, the sale, Eden Prairie, so that he can buy off market. And I'm on both sides of that on Lake Riley. And then the seller of Lake Riley found a place down in Shakopee. So and all of those closed, one closed this morning, the other one closes Friday, and then the other one closes in like 2
That was
weeks.
like on a walk or something, or like at the gas, like what?
The gas
At the
station.
gas station, yeah,
So
yeah.
his sale is $1 million home, I is $1.4 million, and then the seller's bought at 900. So it's a good amount of real estate for talking to somebody instead of.
Did you give Potato a really good bone for that? Like just, keep Potato happy so that you get more referrals.
And she gets,
She's also not a human, so it's okay. She's not a
yeah,
human.
exactly.
It's okay.
And the client,
It's like the DOC back here with our broker, like.
on the client's dog's name is Riley, right? Cause they love the lake and they get to move on to the lake. They named their dog after the lake 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So yeah, so Potato gets to have a new friend to play with.
Awesome. I love that. Anyone else? All right. We are gonna be following along. Usually business planning is like 8 hours or 6 hours, and it's really intense and it's a lot of stuff. And then usually nothing is implemented, right? Because it's so overwhelming. And then you're like, how do I go to budget model? How do I go to profit? Like all of these things. So today what we're gonna do is we're gonna essentially go over big why, where you're starting at, and then going through your economic model. So what I would like in regards to the agenda of this class and this meeting is getting through kind of where we're gonna be and hopefully getting a rough draft of our economic model, right? If it is not completed, I would love for you to meet with me so that we can kind of really hone it in and then turn it into your GPS, which is your 135, and then we turn it into the 411, right? So those are all follow-up meetings with me. If there's a ton of you that end up capitalizing on that, which there usually is not, we will actually create it into small groups where we can do that as well, so that it's you guys can kind of bounce ideas off of each other. But this is one where we're going to get to a certain point, and then I would like you to do your homework on it, and then make sure that we refine it together as a team. Me helping you get to where you want to be. Is that fair? Awesome. So starting out, some of you may know these numbers, some of you may not know these numbers. So I'm going to give you about 2 to 5 minutes, right, to look up the numbers that we're talking about. And if you don't know them or you don't have numbers because you're newer, just think about this, or even say, okay, I think I'm about here, right? So the amount of money that I need to pay to have my lifestyle and get out of debt, right? And if you think it's X, I'm guessing it's X plus another large amount, right? So I'm talking about every single standard of living that you have in a year, as well as anything that you want to add to it. Like, do you go out to dinner often? And this can be a rough number. Some of you have a budget for your personal life, right? Some of you do not. However, I think this is the starting point for your business, right? Because you're trying to fund your life with your lifestyle. This, you guys are probably looking for this sheet. It is not in your book. We can print this off if you guys want these. I think Heather has it up if she wants the full booklet.
This is not in their pack. Would you like it to be included?
Yeah, we can print this one out.
Yeah, it's printing right now.
Oh. Okay, so I'll go through these while these are printing off. Your business expenses. So when we're thinking of business expenses, right, we're talking about trainings, we're talking about your licensing, we're talking about every single thing that you put down there, coffee dates, if you're doing marketing, events, so those are all business expenses, right? Average commission, everyone knows usually what that is, right? They're like, I normally get this amount of a paycheck, right? We know what that piece is normally. If not, or maybe it's your desired, average, commission check. And then, number of listing appointments gone on last year, buyer appointments, listings sold, buyers sold, and then names in your database. This is probably gonna take a little bit of time. You can go on to command. You can, go into your phone and see how many contacts you have, because if they're not in command, those are still your database. Everyone on this phone is your database. Even if they're an agent, right? You can grow your profit share tree. Unless they're in here.
Oh, Rick, there's another packet for you.
That's a different thing. Any questions around that?
The other packet.
All right. We should get some music on while they're looking this up.
But from,
Some jam, Lydia. No, she's on it.
oh, yeah.
Yeah.
What can't I do? That's why I went to you.
I really like this song, Every Time of Your Life, and everybody's like, oh, numbers.
Oh, I'll ask him for sure. Yeah.
I think the hardest number for everybody to figure out, quite honestly, is your lifestyle number. Anybody know their lifestyle number, like roughly off the top of their head with every year? I'm gonna be real honest, it got real pretty wampus this year for me, so.
Yeah, that was,
I'm in that boat where I'm like, not sure where that's at. I mean, I barely am getting names at Thursday's training, and I told them that there's food. That's the only way that I could get there. I was like, there's food. How we doing? Someone to say terrible. Oh, terrible.
let's talk to your computer, Heather.
If right now, this is like, it is difficult, which is, I mean, you're in the same boat with a lot of people, right? Like, that first question is a really, really tough question, right? Because a lot of us do not run on a budget for our lifestyle. Can we agree on that? A lot of us are like, oh, there's money in the bank, I have some savings, we're good, I'll make some more money. Right? That's where that like uncertainty comes from, right? Like if you're running your business, we should know our numbers, which a lot of us don't like numbers. And, you know, I think Hudson said it last week, your entire life is numbers. Everything about your life is a number, right? Monetary, like financially, it's a number. Your age is a number. Everything is a number. Yet we don't really like looking at. My thought on that is because numbers actually don't lie. It's not a feeling, it's an actual thing that we have to like look at and either like the number or we don't. Right? You done already?
Fill this out. That's my system.
Like you're on it, you know all your numbers. Like that.
Estimated.
Guesstimated. If you are like estimating, I would highly recommend because this is a shorter business planning, there's not as much like homework right now, right? To like really get into this next quarter. I would highly, highly recommend going into more detail. If you didn't have detail on some of these numbers, like what your expenses actually are, whatever you do to calm or meditate or relax, do that and then honestly dive into it. Either take out your, you know, your bank account, your credit cards and just be like, what do I spend each month in the last 12 months, right? And some months it might be more, some it might not. And decide whether or not you're okay with that amount. If you want to up that amount and you're like, hey, you know what, we can actually do, you know, a really nice restaurant every single week, right? Like you get to decide at that point then, like where you're going to be for the next year. Fair? Do we need more time? We still working? I need a yes, no, head nod. Okay, yes, more time. Okay. How we doing online? Do a thumbs up or something. Everyone's right. Pretty much like- How hot did we get just from doing that first exercise?
Keep track of what. I mean, I put things into the system and I go back and I look there. Yeah. But, I've never been a numbers person. Yeah. Language arts teacher. I mean, it's just that right brain, left brain is just not something that I need to spend more time.
That's a huge one. Like just realize, you know what I mean? Like realizing like, because it might not be everybody's strength, right? However, it's still neat. And then we can help put together a system that's easy for you to use. You know what I mean? Like what is actually tracked? What else? What else is aha? I know. I see Heather's face. Heather's like, I want to say it, but I'm not sure if I should say it.
Figure out what I was saying. I need more quantity. I need a lot more opportunities rather than worrying about the things that I'm actually going on. I just need more opportunities.
Instead of then like kind of grabbing on to like what's there.
I actually, I need to start creating.
More of an abundance mindset, right? Love that. What else? What else was an aha from that?
I think number one needs to include investing or saving, because it should be built into your business plan to just have that be a part of your life. Like, so that you're bringing in more money, more resources.
Like the buckets, like when your money comes in, what are the buckets that you put your money into, right? Like, do you put it in, here's X into the business, here's X into savings, here's X into investing.
Yeah, because the way it just appears on here, it's like you need X, and on December 31st, X equals 0 because you've spent or used it all.
I think that's a really great point, and yet that is how most people function, right? Is like, what do I need to make or get for my lifestyle this year, right? And those are, I mean, that's a great point of like having that other mindset of what do I need for my lifestyle plus savings and investment.
Because if it's 0 at the end of 1 year, it'll still be 0 at the end of 5 years and 10 years, if nothing changes.
Yeah.
I thought that was important. Then the other comment I had was, on the where will you be in 10 years? I
We're not
really,
even there yet.
oh, we're not there yet?
No, like you already read through the whole packet.
The front page.
Yeah.
What other aha for the numbers that we just did?
I think, like 2 years ago when I was at Mega Asian Camp, I just really started thinking like, what you focus on expands, right? And so it's like, I don't know what my money looks like, but I'm just gonna focus on it and hope that it expands, right?
Did this just expand? Because I wanted to expand and I love that.
But I think in focusing on it, there's clarity around, okay, what do we use every month? And Derek's point, what can we then start to allocate to other areas, right? And so that's where, and just in focusing on that piece of what can we put other places that then will start to expand. So even if nothing else, you're like, maybe this year I'm just gonna like look at it. In doing that now, it's been like 2 years, but now in doing that, like, yes, you just find other things that like, oh, we could be doing this because we're just looking at it more often, right? So actually, it is very.
He's like, you're like, it worked. I love that. It's interesting because we're all talking about like, we don't notice like budgets or, you know, whatever. As you all know, I dropped off my oldest daughter and she called me about 2 days ago after she went to Trader Joe's for the first time buying her own groceries. And she wanted a new Garmin watch and she realized, well, that was $330. Her grocery bill was about $65. She goes, Mom, what should my budget be per week? I said, well, do you have a job yet? Right? Because otherwise we got X to work with, right? And it reminded me though of, right, like she's not alone in that. It just so happens that now it's coming out of her bank account versus my bank account, right? Or if you have a partner, if you have whatever, right? Like you just kind of, you forget that piece because it's just kind of this easy, like, here's the credit card, here's this, you know, and then you pay it off and then you look at your bank statement. So, any other ahas? All right, moving to the next page. Did Heather print out big ones or?
Everyone should have all the pages.
Okay, they all have all the pages. That's just to kind of get your brain working into the business planning mode of where we're starting and where we're going to be going for this next year, right? On here, this is for the full, like we're only going through one model and going to have your business plan in place or at least rough draft by the end of this and then get you on to the next tasks to make sure that you're accountable for what we're actually putting on there. In this section, I want us to truly think about what you want from this class, right? You guys all showed up. There's something you're desiring from this, right? And I want to know what those are and how it's going to help be implemented through the next 18 months, right? Or I guess it's 15 months until the end of next year. I'd like you to really think about what you want to learn out of this because it can also help shape how we're going to teach this class. This can be taught very differently depending on where you're at in your business and what you're really wanting to get out of it. So take about 2 minutes to write those things down. Some examples of what I put in. I'm not sure if this was like 2 years ago that I took this class or if it was even longer than that. Just to get your brain kind of functioning is just knowing what the math in my business is, right, was number one. Number two was the places that I need to focus on with the coach. And then my number three were the areas that I need improvement on. And some of you are like, how do I get that out of this class? I mean, to Maureen's point, right? She's like, man, I realize you just got to think about everything that we're talking about today differently. I realize that these are places I don't really focus on or I don't track, right? Learning just more about you. did we come up with that we want?
I think everybody's been admitted to being very brand new to this. Okay. I'm not sharing across the room, but, for me, it's figuring out exactly where I'm going to hyper focus for lead gen. I don't have that figured out. I don't have like, that did work for me last year, that didn't work for me last year. So for me, it's base. Where am I gonna start? See if that works for me.
Good news is even if you're not new, I guarantee there's not a lot of hyper-focused lead generators in here.
Another one for me, also being new, was I'm also coming off of taking 2 years off from work, so it's a big family structure change for us, and really getting those time blocks set, and then resetting home and work hours expectations. Once I know more, I can fill that information in for everybody. And my third one is to follow up on that. What resources do I need to make that happen?
Love it.
I would say, does my husband need to drive more to soccer, but he's actually been doing that, so that's fantastic.
That's a win.
But he will.
Especially those Blaine trips. Oh, man, I got some showings. You gotta take him to Blaine tonight.
So far, that's been awesome, but part of that is, you know, what help does he need then? Is
Yeah.
that doable? Yeah, he works the weekend, and now he's not.
Got it. All right, what else besides these? And can anyone relate to these, by the way? I mean, there's a lot of people that are relating to this, right? So this isn't even just a, hey, a new thing. People are still relating to these items. What else besides these? Started.
I wrote, focusing on the process over the goals themselves.
Okay.
It's interesting because that just came up in Jake Lower's leadership class a couple of days ago. Is talking about if you're constantly focused on just the goal, you miss everything that happens in the path to the goal, you know, or in the steps to the goal. So I like that.
I think to Aaron's point, it's kind of those of us who are trying to figure out numbers, like what is that big number that I need to get to? Recognizing that we can push toward the big number, but does it actually balance where we want to be in our life? And do I have the capacity to change my big number if it changes my life? I mean, those questions that you're just trying to figure out as you're stumbling along. So like I can push hard and make the 6 figures, but then I miss every birthday,
It's like, what am I willing to give up or do to get to that piece, right?
Yeah, and sometimes if I'm any indication, I don't know that until I'm in the middle of it and then recognize, oh my gosh, I don't want to write it off in the middle of everybody's Christmas present. That's really sad.
Almost like desire, and then I don't know how to write that.
I don't either. Like it's
Maybe like, it's because it's not necessarily commitment, but it is. It's kind of like your choice and commitment to the actual goal, right? Like, what are you willing to commit to, and what are you not willing to commit to, right? Because those are two very, very different things. You're like, I love the goal, but I'm not willing to commit to not being able to be with my family on the holidays, right? Like,
Goal alignment.
yes, yep. What else?
You know, that makes me think of like, doing business in the way that you're currently doing business. If you wanted the big goal, it might end up impacting all the other areas of your life. However, if the big goal is important to you, developing your business to reach the big goal in a way that doesn't sacrifice the other things in your life too.
Like how to utilize leverage, or how to, and how
Yeah.
to become.
Yeah, because like the writing an offer on Christmas makes me think like, if you were willing to work from 9 to 11 every weekday, you probably wouldn't have to work on Christmas to write, you know, or whatever. Yeah, like
I like that.
from a planning perspective. And you still might end up writing the offer on Christmas.
Right.
Yeah.
It's weird how What else?
If you take a vacation, you get more business.
Sure.
Is that our philosophy next year? Is if I just go on vacation, I am going to get so many, but it's really true. I swear it's true. Like you leave and all of a sudden your phone is like flying off the hook and you're like, what? Like I literally at the airport and they're like, I love this house. And you're like, oh, okay. Like, all right, what else? Does this cover everything that you guys want to learn? Yeah? Okay. Moving on. So kind of part of what Derek was just talking about even, next one. Nope. Nope. You must have skipped some pages. Like the models, is that not in here?
I think that's in the other packet, Katie.
Oh, got
Oh,
it.
so I gotta get to a different thing.
Okay, so we talk a lot about goals, right? We talk about lifestyle, we talk about schedule, we talk about many different things. And if you guys have ever taken any of the classes, right, like models versus mindset. So we're going to be talking about both of them. And they don't like, no, it's the upside down model one. They don't exist without each other, right? So I'm like, if you believe that if you have a crappy mindset, what usually happens to your personal and professional life? It just opens the floodgates, right? And everything is usually wrong. It's always someone's fault. You get this victim mentality, like all these other things, right? And then I think we also have the people that are like, you know, oh, I can do it this way. And that one, yes. Page 2.1. I can do it this way and I'm going to get results, right? Because this is more me. Well, the really awesome thing about Gary Keller is that he has researched so many agents, right? And it's not just agents in our company. He's researched them across companies. And the one thing I would say he always comes back to is systems and models, right? Knowing your numbers and systems and models, those all kind of go together in one fell swoop. So when we talk about that, and I know you guys have probably seen this before, right? This triangle. And at the bottom, what's at the bottom of any foundation, right? What's at the bottom of a house? It's a foundation. What is that for our businesses? I've said it like 8 times.
Leads.
Nope. Models.
Awesome.
Keep going, you're good.
So this is a stable triangle, right? So it's on its base.
Thanks for chiming
It's
in.
not rolling. No one's gonna tip this. I mean, it's gonna take some force to move this, right? At the top of it is the creativity part, right? So it's like a lot of times people believe that it's the other way around, right? So here's the bottom. This is models. This is creativity. What happens with this? It's tipping. There's uncertainty there, right? Yeah, but it's really, it's really sexy and this is really creative and people are gonna love it and we're just gonna see if it sticks. Can anybody give an example of this? I'm gonna give an example of a business that just launched something this week. Okay? I don't see anybody drinking any of it, but, oh, I do. I see one person drinking. Starbucks. Okay? What happened to Starbucks when everyone started going through their fit phase and their protein phase and everything else? What happened? I don't know if any of you guys watch this, but Starbucks is all of a sudden not as busy, right? People are starting to drink mushroom coffee and all this other stuff. So what did Starbucks do? Does anybody know what got launched on Monday?
A protein latte.
Protein latte and protein foam, okay?
They closed 100 stores today.
What?
They closed 100 stores
This is
today.
what I'm saying. So what did they do? This is what I'm saying. Like, what did they do?
Well-
The model was the model, right? And now they're like, crap, right? But their model was set. They've got the lattes, they've got X, they got this, right? So now what are they doing? Then they're becoming creative. Like, what are we losing business to? They're losing business to energy drinks They're losing business to protein like shakes and protein coffees that are going out there. And people are realizing that $7 for a latte, I better be getting something out of this besides the 450 calories. Right? I am really, really jazzed to see how this works out. But they haven't switched anything in a really long time. Can we agree on that? I mean, they really haven't. And all of a sudden they're like, uh-oh. Something is shifting, right? And they started becoming partners with Delta. And I mean, if you're on the, like, they're really, really trying to do all of these things to not lose business anymore, right? But do you think if they would have started something creative right off the bat, where that would be? Like they're adding to their business. Because anyone that's like, oh man, now I can get 30 grams of protein in my coffee and I don't have to make it and I can, you know, whatever. They're like, I'm in. So they're shifting with the market, with the models that they already have. How many of us have really great models that we're following right now in our business? Raise your hand. Okay. That's a really honest answer, right? Can I ask a deeper question to that? We say we're training out, right? Like we got too many trainings, we got all this stuff, and a lot of them actually do have systems and models. What is holding us back from putting those in place? Because a system or a model could be as easy as I'm going to lead gen 2 hours a day or an hour a day, but I'm going to be consistent on it, right? What's holding us back from that? Can I get some honest answers to that?
I think for a lot of people, it's like true belief in the model and that it is going to produce, especially around the things that you just mentioned, like lead gen. And I think people's commitment wavers because they don't truly believe that doing the seemingly meaningless things that they're doing are actually going to produce.
Trusting the process. Yeah. So I do not disagree with that at all, right? I'm curious though, we have things that have been proven, like the playbooks, right? We do playbooks each week. And every single one is different for each person and their personality type. And, you know, again, if you haven't done the KPA and done what might be the right lead gen sources for you, I'd be happy to do that. Some people loved the results. Some people did not love the results, right? But they're out there. And if we're not getting the results that we currently want with maybe hey, I'm going to try these things, right? What holds us back at that point? Because it's like you want, what I heard on that is, right, I want to have proven results. Example, like Ken Pozak, he has proven results that when his YouTube started, it was like low level. And he's stuck with it over time, right? To get results that are like astronomical. I wish that Pete Collins was in this room right now. And he's probably going to tell me I shouldn't tell any of you this so that you don't do the same thing. Pete meets with me once a week since he came over here. He's like, I'm going to do the open houses. And he's like, I just don't even like being at the open house. It doesn't fit what I want to do, right? I said, well, what would work for you? Like what system would work for you? You've got open houses, you got, sphere events, you've got cold calling. We've got all of these different things we can do. And there is a long list, but it's not a huge list, right? Because we do have to pick something. And he said, you know what I'm going to do is, Ben Winkle is his name. I can't remember his first name, but he's like, I'm going to do the golden letter, right? Is Ben Winkle is his last name? I'm going to do the letter and I'm going to start sending out letters. I said, okay. There has to be a budget for that. Yeah, are you willing to then, put the budget for, he's like, yep. I think we started with 250 a week, right? He's been doing it about 6 months-ish, 6-7 months. Probably 6 months, actually. All of a sudden, it was like, okay, I'm getting calls. I'm getting about 23 calls a week, right? From these letters. And let me tell you, it is like a 2-line letter. I mean, it is not anything that is like extensive. And all of a sudden he's like, I think I'm gonna multiply that. I'm gonna do 500. Okay, we are now at 750 letters a week. Every week he sends those out. Last night, I'm on a walk around 9:30 around my block with the dog, and I get this ping. Hey, Kami, I just wanted to let you know, I just signed my 6th listing just from the letters, and it was $850,000. Tell me the model doesn't work. And you know what we're talking about now? Is he's like, I have too many leads that I have to figure out a new model for the follow-up on the leads that haven't turned into now business. But you know how boring our coaching is? It's every week he's like, I did my 750 letters. This is what we need to work on next, right? Now we're talking about leverage. What does he need to do for leverage so he can keep sending out 750 plus follow-up, plus being able to go on those appointments and then handle the buy sides of those, right? 6 months. That was 6 months. And he trusted the process. And you know what he's found out over that time period is that he now knows which ones are actual leads and which ones aren't. And the ones that he has his 3-4 questions, he's like, okay, they're just going into my drip campaign. And I'm going to follow up with them in 3-4 months, right? But these ones, there's a reason they picked up the phone to call, right? If they're willing to sell their house. He didn't know if that was going to really happen. Kevin was laughing at me because I really do think that's the guy's name that does that. It's like something, but he saw him up at Mega Camp. That's where he saw him. And he's actually in the playbook. And he just took it and went with it. Would you guys like that kind of result? I don't think any of the listings of those 6 are under $700,000, by the way, because he strategically was also targeting higher end homes. And immediately your little drunk monkeys that are up there are like, really rich people don't respond to those letters. Oh, the heck they don't. Right? Like they actually want to save money. So they're gonna end up responding, and then you can do your presentation to them. Right? Who's thinking about actually putting a system and model in place this year? Who wants to? Who wants to have results like that? Where next year when we're sitting here, you're like, I send out this many, this is how many people and leads I get from it, and this is how many listings I can get from it. Like, how great would that be? Would you be excited to business plan? Would you be like, oh, how do I make this even bigger, to your point, right? Like, how do I make this from 6 listings in 6 months? Right? And I'm guessing by then it's gonna kind of snowball, right? To 48 listings in 6 months. And then who do I have to have on my team to help me do that? Like that's when it gets really, really exciting, right? And you can still go on vacation and the phone rings and you got the person to do the things back at home. Oh, there it is.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Awesome. All right. But, and part of that, right, is I just kind of talked about that in this example is, you get to a certain point, right? You get to a certain point, I don't know what the thing is on there. But you've got your natural ability, right? We all have that. That's where it seems like we might all be operating in. Would you guys agree? Right now, like if we don't have any systems and models in place and sometimes we get frustrated and then we have a really good year and then we smack our head right up against that ceiling. You know what that's called? That's called burnout, or I'm so busy I can't do anything else because I don't have any time and I'm not sure really what to do. And then what happens? We have to come back down here. Because we get so busy that we forgot about the lead gen part. So then we're back to ground one where you're like, oh no, I don't have any more leads because I just closed like 7 of them. And now I need to build that back up, right? So then we get pushed back down. We're kind of forced. We're either forced to come back down here and make this be the year that you actually put a fundamental model together or a system that you're like, this is what I'm going to do and I'm going to trust it. And I'm going to get frustrated, but I'm going to trust it. And I'm gonna trust it for at least 6 months. And a lot of times when we do that and we get frustrated, it's not because the model's not working. It's because we're not working. Right? I can say this. I can say I've been in those places. Ask John. This month, we almost had 0 coming into this market center, and you damn sure that this month I was like, I'm not getting a 0. Right? And I can say there's a million reasons why that happened. I was out of the office. I had this and this and this. But the activities weren't the same this month as they were other months. Right? We're all in the same boat. We're all human. Yeah.
I'm thinking, for me, a lot of this has to do with just tracking it. And
Yeah.
like, use an example that's non-real estate, like going to the gym and tracking the food intake that you have, right? I've had weeks where, oh gosh, I'm up a couple pounds. And so I'm tracking, I'm going to the gym every day, or I'm writing every single thing that goes into my mouth, right? But then you get burnout from it, right? And then you still might continue to go to the gym and you still might continue to eat well, but are you writing it down? Are you keeping track of it? My trainer would be like, Maureen, you lose weight when you track it. And he's like, when you don't track it, you come in and it's the same. And he's like, if you're okay with staying, fine. Sometimes you need, when you're burnout, to just stay the same, right? But when you need it to move, you need to track it. And I realize like I'm doing the same thing with my business. There are things that I realize are probably considered models, but I wouldn't have ever called them that I consistently do, either daily or weekly or monthly or whatever with my sphere. But I'm kind of just not tracking it, and I'm organically just going, well, my business probably comes from here, and it probably comes from here, and it probably comes from here, and I'll keep doing the things, but I'm not necessarily writing it down and tracking.
I love both of those examples, right? Because if you listened really hard on that, what were the numbers that she tracks? Because she is tracking, but what are the numbers she's tracking? No, she's tracking her results.
Okay.
Losing weight, you track that because you're like, it's up or it's down. That number is important to you. Most likely, I don't know, people usually track bank account when they're not making any money. They track that, that's the result. We love numbers, or at least we pay attention to the numbers when it's the result. How do you expect to be able to change anything without knowing how you got to that result or how you did it? And sometimes we know how we got there, but we don't want to face that, right? Because even when like, I track all those same things. And when I don't want to track those numbers, you want to know when I don't put those in the tracker? Is when I go to Dairy Queen and I don't want to put Dairy Queen in the tracker. So today I'm just not going to track. Right? You know what I'm not going to track when I'm getting a 0? I'm not going to track the people I did not call. I don't want to put that in there. That's because you don't want to look in the mirror, right? It's like you get to change all of this in a mindset shift of, if that number is that important, am I willing to track all the things to make that number different?
And I think sometimes, like, I also self-sabotage too. Like, you're almost, just as much as you're afraid of failing, you're afraid of succeeding.
Oh, both. Absolutely both. So when we get back here, that's when we actually get through that ceiling. Has anyone ever gotten through the ceiling by just putting one model together? For instance, you're like, hey, when I track, I lose weight. So you've gotten through the ceiling with some kind of model, even if it's short-term use, right? You got to somewhere where there was a result that you broke through, right? Then what happened? Oh, now we're successful. We got it all together. So then, now is the time though that you can put creativity in there, but you're going to probably have to switch that model a little bit, right? And you can improve it because it's probably shifted. This is Starbucks right now. We added protein to our coffee. I mean, I was sold. I don't ever go to Starbucks. And today the kids were like, you want to go to Starbucks? I was like, yeah, I do. Get me a vanilla foam protein latte, right? It wasn't that great. But I went, like I don't ever go when they want to go in the morning. Like I'm never like, no, that's my thing. But this morning I was like, oh, I want to see it. I want to see if I really like this. And I don't know, maybe I would pay that for it. Who knows? And then you break through again, right? It's just going to be the same thing. You have to be able to just hit that, and you're going to hit it multiple times. And then you got to see what improves that to really truly get to wherever you want to be, and it's never going to stop. And I think that's actually the beauty about it. There's no ceiling that ever really has to stop you. It's just a matter of how it shifts. And I think you can think of that as many different companies. You can think of it as Amazon, you can think of it as Apple. Where did all those start out? They didn't start out where they are now. But do you think they hit ceilings? Do you think after, selling books out of the garage or whatever, he's like, I need a different system? Absolutely. There were a lot of failures in there. A lot of them. And then it was creative. Then we introduced other things. And now it's this mega powerhouse in every aspect. We all use it on a daily basis, I guarantee. Some way, shape, or form. Right? Most of you have Apple phones. Even if you don't have an Apple phone, you probably have something that it was created after all of the things that Apple did. What questions or ahas do we have on this portion? I would challenge you right now to write one thing down that you're going to implement or what you feel like might be something you want to put a model in place for. I don't care if it's personal. I don't care if it's, hey, I'm going to track these numbers and this is how I'm going to find out to track it. You might not know how to yet. You're like, I'm going to find an app that tracks that and reminds me every single day, right? It can be business or professional on some model you're going to put in place. Sometimes the business one gets like real like dicey and you get scared of it, right? All right, let's go while you're thinking of those things. Let's go to the myths about all of these. So next page. I don't need models. I think Maureen kind of said this. She's like, yeah, I'm just kind of getting this. But you're not alone on this. Like I can guarantee everyone in here was like nodding it like in their head, like on their own, right? Like, yeah, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna have a few wine clubs. I'm gonna, do a book club over here. I'm gonna go golfing and I'm gonna pick up because I get a few deals here and there. I'm gonna go on vacation. I might pick up 2 more leads. We all do this. Or it's like, you know what? No, this week because I have nothing, I'm gonna do 4 open houses. And then I get too busy. I'm going to do 4 open houses, maybe like 6 months down the road, but then I'll pick that back up, right? I think we've all been there. So I don't need models as a myth, right? Models limit my freedom. AKA creativity, right? Think of the most successful person in your life. It can be anybody. It doesn't even have to be someone that you're related to, talk to. It could be like someone that you know that's really, really successful. Do you believe that they got there a model of some sort? Who wants to share who they're thinking of? Yeah.
I have a close friend in our church that in college, her and her husband did the, whatever that financial piece, anything.
Dave Ramsey.
Yeah, and from college, they were not in debt. They've got 5 or 6 kids, no debt, 60,000 in savings because he wanted to be a Chick-fil-A owner. And it's just like, they've got, and they set the model, always lived by it. And they're just rolling in extra money, trying to figure out what to do with it. And he works for Chick-fil-A as a manager. He's like making nothing.
So do you feel like they don't have freedom?
Oh, no, they have all the freedom in the world. Yeah.
What's really interesting about that myth is that when you follow the models and you're held accountable, it allows you more freedom than you can ever imagine. Can I pick on you a little bit? I mean, you followed a model for quite a while with
The
investing.
guy with the red shoes said discipline is freedom.
I was about to pick on him.
Firmly.
Notice he just like threw out he threw out a mic drop.
Yeah, there you go, Rob Dan.
Well, you've been very disciplined on many things,
Yes.
like investing and you come to this place right now, like, right, that you're like growing out facial hair. But it's allowed you freedom.
Very much.
How many months do you actually hang around Minnesota?
I know I was in Miami for 6 months. 5 this year in 2025.
Even less than that, because you went on some larger vacations too, right?
Yeah,
So, but you see him here every day when he is here. Right? It's like, so it's allowed him the freedom, the days he's here, there's a schedule. Usually you're doing the same things, right? And then when he's not, he gets to do whatever he wants, right? Do you feel stressed when that happens?
no.
I love your smile too, because you're like, no, not at all, right? And that didn't just come, right? That's not like he's been doing this for 2 years. Like it's over time. But models really actually give you a ton of freedom, a ton.
Like compound interest,
Yeah.
like time on the task over time.
These next two reminds me of what you said. Models are just opinions and they won't work for me. Like why? Why would it not work for you? Show me something that is better that was working for you currently than just implementing a model. Because if you can do that, I'll like, go. We're in, right? Because that's going to be the new model. I don't need to change. I'm getting the results I want. This is a funny one to me because people say this often and then they look me straight in the eyes and they're like, but I actually want X. But what they don't want to do is change what they're doing to get X. Right? Like I'll be like, oh, I mean, I don't know how many times I'm like, I want legit 6-pack abs. And then I was like, I can't have that cookie that Reese just made. And I was like, you know what? I don't know if I'm all in. I'm okay with like one load of laundry on top of the abs. Like I'm good because I can get a cookie and I can still feel okay. Right? And I think that's what a lot of us do. It's like, I want it. And it goes back to what's on the board before. Am I committed to that actual goal enough to not do the things that won't get me there? Most of the time, no. Right? So that's where you got to kind of have that mental balance for like, what goal are you willing to do all the things to get there for? Right? All right. We're going to go straight to big why, right? So big why is a big question. And everyone's like, I don't know what my big why is. So that's what those questions are for you. That first part of the packet, the first packet that we gave you. I'm going to give you a few minutes to just look it over. Where will you be in 10 years? And the reason I put this in there to try to help figure out the big why is because there are people that have been in this and they've heard about the big why for years and they're like, I don't know what mine is. And you're like, family, my family. What about your family? Right? Like, yet these questions that we're going to put some music on and I really want you to work through these questions. I want you to work through as many as we can in the time allotted. And if those aren't done, I want you to honestly take this home. Because this is going to change your mindset of like, what is my big why? And then if you're like, I don't really have one, then let's figure that out. I think it was about a year ago, maybe, that I wrote something about, I don't even know, maybe it was 2 years ago. I don't remember. I don't know who I am besides a mom for a while, right? Because I was like, I don't know what I want. I don't even know what I like doing. And I took these questions just in regards to like, sometimes we have multiple identities and yet we only identify with one of them, right? Like, I'm a parent, I'm a real estate agent, I'm a business owner. You get to be all of them, and what does it look like in 10 years? That's what can help create your big why. Like, what's your purpose? Why do you do what you do? Wendy?
Yeah, this past December, I was up at the cabin working the week between Christmas and New Year's, and I just spent a little time journaling one day, and I wrote December 29th, 2029. Oops, wrong date. Yep, and I went, wait a minute. If this was December 29th, 2029, what do I want my life to look like? What, if I was sitting here on that day journaling, who am I and what does my life look like? My health, my relationships, my finances, my spiritual life, all the things. And I spent the day just journaling what my life would look like and on that date in 5 years. Then I turned that into a document I called it Starting with the End in Mind. And what do I have to get done this year in order to be on track to be that person sitting in that chair journaling in 5 years? I think it's really powerful to start with visualizing who you are going to be and who you're going to be doing your life with and what it looks like.
And I think part of that visualization, right, is like, what puts a smile on your face? Like, if someone was like, what puts a smile on your face? You wanna know what puts a smile on my face? Being on a mountain with people I care about. We could be just sitting there, we could be hiking, I could be staring at it. Right? But anytime that vision comes into my brain, I can't not smile. Like, not even a little bit. I could be in the worst mood, and if I see that, or I see a picture, or I think about that, it's like, snap out of it. Kind of like a fun visualization. I mean, learning more about who you are and what makes you tick in some of these questions is only going to get us closer and closer to whatever your business plan is going to look like at the end of it. You truly cannot grow with one thing without the other. You start growing exponentially personally, you are going to desire more growth professionally. And vice versa. Or you're going to need it, actually. If you grow professionally, you've sometimes got to actually change your personal growth. All right, I'm going to give you about, you guys can grab, maybe, should we grab some food?
Eat while
And then you can kind of start working through these. I'm going to give you about 10 minutes. How does that sound to work through some of these questions for the big why? And grab some food. What I don't want you to do with those 10 minutes is go and do some emails or text your friend. I really want this hour and a half of ours to truly be in this class mindset wise. Is that fair? Unless there's like an emergency. So we got some pizza in the back. We're gonna kick up some music and then start writing some of these questions or answers to these questions. What were some ahas from those questions that you guys just answered? Giggling. What did she say? She's like looking at, she's like this, and she's like, I am old.
I thought you said I am bold, and I was like, yes, you are.
Yes, you are. I am old.
In 10 years, I'm gonna be 70.
That just,
Well,
I was like,
Hey, that's pretty young. I won't tell you where I'll be in 10 years.
We hope so right here,
Yeah, I hope so. Me too.
what ahas did we have? Or who wants to transparently share where they'll be in 10 years? Or they desire to be in 10 years?
A lot of trips. Is what
How is your list going, by the way?
Pretty good, actually.
Share your list. What we're,
Well, I have a goal to hit 50 states in 50 years. And so I actually need 4 4 trips, like just within the US to hit all of them, but I haven't been already into like trips. So I need 4 of those. And then my daughter really wants to go to Australia for her graduation gift. So that's gonna be and that's coming up. So I got,
Yeah, lots of lots of trips to plan.
uh-huh.
Love it.
So then how do you fund that, right? There you go. That's, well, we're gonna do
that in a little
figure
bit
that
here. What else? Who else? This can honestly be the most impactful share of the entire session, if you're willing to share.
Well, I can tell you, I did this 12 years ago. And went through the 10 years and actually hit my big why, which was to, I always used to joke that I don't want to call it the R word, but
Retirement.
I made it to my retirement. What I didn't do was
Stay in it.
prepare myself for what my big why was going to be when I got there.
Oh,
And,
yeah.
and that didn't work at all. So now I'm working on a new big why. That's just to be here. in 10 years.
I can't wait to hear more of your big why, except for I don't want you to retire again.
No, I think.
So maybe we don't work on that.
I learned that one real quick. That isn't gonna be part of the plan.
What else? I mean, that's a pretty impactful one though, because you like, everybody's like, oh, I'm not gonna work by this. What are you gonna do then? Like, what's the reason for that, right? And sometimes that's what keeps us back from even doing it, because you're like, well, I don't know what I'm gonna do then. Colleen, you wanna share?
I am not retiring. It's just, husband and I were sitting at my father-in-law's, deathbed, basically. And my husband just lightly says, so, you're 94, what regrets do you have in life? My father-in-law laughed that I retired too early. And what happened was, in his retirement, he didn't have purpose. And I started thinking about that, and the way that I'm running my business, I walk into people's lives and I make a difference. And I don't want to stop doing it. I do want to get pickier about how I spend my time, but I don't want to stop walking into people's lives.
Who else?
Yours.
Oh, okay. 10 years, so Reese will be, I literally thought about this, I was like, Reese will be 28. Paige will be 25, and Maddie will be 22. And the goal for me when Maddie is graduated is to be fully moved to Montana. She'll still have the house to come home to in Minneapolis for like a summer. And then I'll rent that place out. And then depending on where they are, I could potentially be a grandma by then. So I don't know, 28 is kind of like that thing. I mean, I had a kid at 23, so I don't know if my kids are gonna take after me or not. But be there and have holidays there and sell real estate there. I didn't tell John that yet. So John just found out.
Well, 10 years from now, I probably won't care. Almost 90.
You better care, John.
Yeah,
Darn
yeah.
Were you raising your hand? Baby? No? Like, no.
I'll go. In 10 years, I want to be really, really good at this and efficient. So as my kids do have more kids, as a grandma of 3, and then hopefully a lot more by then, I'll efficiently be doing this on the side and, you know, investing in the next generation and having the resources. You know, like my husband and I were already talking about that for our oldest, who is a homeowner. Like, how can we get them onto their next place so that they can continue to thrive and grow as a family? And you know, and so I want to be really good. I really believe in good work. Yeah. And it's good work. It's meaningful work. And so I want to be really good at it and efficient so I can do the other stuff that I love, with the people I love.
Point also, Derek, I forgot to add that when I was on vacation with Reese for her graduation, her and I wrote a bucket list of all the hikes that we want to do. And she said to me when we were in Switzerland, I want us to get through the bucket list before you can't do this anymore. And I said, how old do you think I am, first of all? But it hit me that like, we don't go to Switzerland every year, right? So like, if we want to hit all of these hikes worldwide, like we've got to start doing those, like together. So that bucket list is now, but hopefully half done by the time I'm 52. Some of them are pretty strenuous hikes, so, yeah.
Awesome.
Who else? One more. Here.
Been this way for a long time to create passive income such that I can choose what I want in my life. And I'm sorry, it's I choose if I want to work for money or use my time in a different way.
Say that again. I think it's powerful, those words, what he just said.
The end.
Yeah.
I choose if I want to work for money or use my time in a different way.
But you gotta read from start to.
To create passive income such that I can choose what I want in my life, I choose if I want to work for money or use my time in a different way.
That's like the definition of actual freedom, right? I think sometimes though, right now, we choose to work for money or not, even when we don't already have the freedom to do such, right? And then we get put into situation. So whatever yours was on here that you may or may not be afraid of, right? Because sometimes we're afraid to share because we don't want to say it out loud, or we're unsure. And both are very, very normal, right? I would challenge you to finish this. And if you feel so fit to share it with me, I would love to hear it. And I would love to hear it not because I'm being nosy in your life, but because it allows me to show up for you in a different way, understanding what you actually desire in 10 years. Is that fair? All right. Being conscious of time, we are going to move right into the goal setting now. So if you don't have all of the feels or you have the questions and you have the mindset, let's move. It's 2.11, right? So we kind of talked about this a little bit. It only goes one way, this actual diagram, right? So sometimes you see triangles, sometimes you see, this, and this. It starts with setting the goal. And I think even at the beginning of this class, which kind of seems like light years ago, because we've talked about some heavy stuff, focusing on the goal is not always what's needed, but making the goal is. And the reason for that is when you make the goal, you get to figure out the activities to get to, or how to get to it, right? And then you can focus on the activities and you can focus on the process, right? So you start with setting the goal. You do the activities after we figure out what those are. Then you measure the results, evaluate the process, make adjustments, bam. So this is almost here's your natural ability, you hit the ceiling, you make the model, right? It's just a different way of explaining it. Where do you feel like out of this circle you get stuck most often? I mean, I know the answer to this, but hypothetically, I'm just gonna ask the question.
I think for me, it's measuring results.
Okay.
I don't always take time to do that.
Okay. Who else?
Activities.
Activities? Thank you for being honest. What else? Does anyone echo those two things?
I think also like making it harder to then be like, oh, I just already have this process, even if it's kind of broken.
Yeah.
You know,
I feel like the broken process is better than no process at all. I mean, that's real, right? Like we do get into that. Anything else on that piece? Okay, I don't necessarily love the order that this is in, even though I know that they teach this often, right? This is the actual order of business planning, and it goes on to the 411 next. The 411 for me is actually after you do your economic model, you do your GPS or your 135, then it all filters down into your 411. So introducing this to you right now, I feel like is the wrong order. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna skip over these pages. And anyone that's done a 411 would probably agree that that's the wrong order. And a 411 is essentially breaking your yearly goals into monthly goals and then into weekly goals. So it's 1 month or 1 year, 1 month, 4 weeks, right? So that's why it's called the 411. We are going to shift right to the economic model. So page number on there, 3.1, we're gonna go over this. We're gonna go over the sample, right? So
In the other packet, where do you want to be in 10 years? The sample is in that packet.
we kind of did multiple packets, but we weren't sure how many were gonna be here, what was gonna be done.
But there's a sample one in that packet.
So there's in there, to net $1 million, right? So if you've read the MREA, it's net $1 million, right? Is that, or is it $500,000 in
It's
there?
actually $500,000.
$500,000 in there?
100,000 in the,
All right, we'll do that one. You have this is where, even if you don't want to share any of the things I just asked, the answers are right here. So when I ask the question, you can be like, ooh, 500,000, right? So, we're netting 500,000. Bear with me, I have a little bit of a shoulder issue right now, so if my arm only goes up this far, it's, doesn't hurt real bad. Okay, so operating expenses. Who can tell me what operating expenses are? Remember, we went through this kind of in that very first part of what our business expenses are, and some of those are probably jumbled into one. What's an operating expense?
Office rent,
Office rent,
transaction management.
okay?
MLS fees.
MLS fees.
CEUs.
Okay, so I'm going strictly by the model on this one for this example, right? They have it as 30%. Okay. The next one, cost of sale. Cost of sale has anything to do with the actual
Closing.
transaction, right? So it can be half, it can be team split.
You only get paid when it closes, right? It's only a cost of sale when it.
Yeah, so it's like, that's like the amount that's taken out. Yeah. So it can be any split, right? No matter what split you're on, a referral, whatever that is, right? So cost of sale is also 30%. Some of you are gonna be like, that's not really what mine is because I only have this amount of cap and I make this, I don't have it on my team. It's probably not gonna be 30% then, right? So just, this is the actual model. Yeah, go ahead.
So I'll just say, like Derek said, transaction or transaction coordinator, depends when you pay your transaction
From the
coordinator.
or if it's from the closing, that's a cost of sale. Yeah. But if you have one that's on your payroll, that's an expense, right? So it really just depends on how you run your team and how you run your expenses and how they're paid. Do we have questions around those two things? Okay, so operating expenses at 30%, for net income of 500,000. What's that number?
100,000. How many percent?
30.
150. 150
What? No.
of 500?
Well, you gotta add it to it, but what you gotta add to it?
That's your net.
$375.
I'll just say this, we're off the sheet because the 40% is gonna be the 500. That's not 100.
Oh, yeah.
That's why we're off
yeah,
the sheet.
That's why we're off, yep. You're right. I'm
Yeah,
used to this one. and
This
like-
is hard,
You're
guys.
like, math is hard, numbers are hard. All right, what's the next one? Same number, it's 30%.
Which gets you the 100%, which is the
Correct, yeah.
1,250,000. Oh,
It's backward.
yeah.
Okay, so some of you are like, ooh, that's a lot of money. Right? How many of you are like, I think that's too much? Like, expense wise versus what your net is. Yeah. Because I'm gonna tell you,
It's surprisingly accurate.
it's almost shockingly accurate, where I can tell you some people that are making this aren't even making this. And I see people's numbers. And I can guarantee you, this is not their actual net income. So when we think about that, right, you're like, I wanna make this year. This is very real. Of what you most like, unless you're running super lean. And there are some businesses that run super lean, right? And it can be a lot less than this. But as you grow, and usually when you're netting $1 million, you're growing, right? Or even $500,000, you're growing. And you're gonna need leverage, and that costs money. Because you think about one administrative assistant, just one. In this portion, right? That's just one body. That you have to pay a salary to. So those are just all things to think about, right? So right now, as you're doing this and you're like, I'm a solo person, I'm just gonna use a transaction coordinator. I would highly suggest picking your transaction coordinator. If you're gonna use a company, Profile's amazing. And look at what their numbers are, right? And then be like, okay, if it is $375 for a listing launch, and then it's, I don't know what the numbers are off the top of my head. Kelly would probably be really mad at me. And then it's, this for closing. Put in then $500 that is going to be a cost of sale for every single one of your transactions. If you're focusing on listings, right? Put in every transaction, a operating expense is going to be signage, marketing, a Facebook ad if you do them, photography, videos if you're doing them. Those are real expenses. And usually you're not getting under $1,000 for that, right? So right now you're at about $1,500, and that's pretty safe. Right? If your average is 95 in regards to actual commission, and you're not quite capped, you gotta figure that out, right? So that's why we want you to cap. So you get 100% and you have to worry about any of that other stuff. And utilize things like Command that the marketing is, right? Like you don't have to go pay for it somewhere. Any ahas on that? This one, it's gonna have the commission amount. So what does it have for commission amount here? So the average commission amount is what we're gonna divide by.
1,075.
Thank you, Heather. So what is
Our
it?
average commission in our multi-year trends in our area is much higher than
What is it?
It is.
I'm
I
just
have to
gonna-
look
I'm
it
gonna
up.
put it in parentheses. What does that equal out? Per unit sold?
Well, that equals out to 182 units sold.
For 15 a month.
So that seems like a lot, right? You're like, ooh, that's a lot. The Zerks, for instance, their goal this year was at least 11 transactions a month. So when we talk about models and systems and people that are doing different things, there are teams and agents in this office that are doing these things, right? So sometimes when we question, can it be done? Does it work? I'm really proud to say that we have people that it does work for. And they've stuck to the models, right? Go ask them where they had the hiccups. Go ask them what had to shift. I use the desserts because I remember them coming in for coaching and they were kicking and screaming and they didn't want to do it. And then they come in every single week and they were like, oh, we were wrong about, I think we had like 4 listing appointments. I said, okay, great. How many did you have, Alex? He's like, I think I had 2. No, I had 3. And Ben's like, no, I had 2. No, I had 1. I said, so you have no idea. Right? And they truly didn't have any idea. And then we started saying, okay, each week you're going to bring in the sheet that says how many listing appointments you set, how many listing appointments you went on, how many closings you actually have, how many pendings you have. And then it got to the point where I was like, we are going to put 11 slashes every month. And I want you to write in which closings are that month, the actual address or the person's name. You want to know what was really fun about that? Each month when they brought that in, they're like, we're 6 behind. Our gap is 6. Each week, right? Now it's only 4. If we add 12 next month, then we're only here, right? Like tracking can be really exciting when you're committed to the goal because it allows you to see where you're actually at. Right? All right, so what do we do after this? Some of you have done this a million times, some of you have never done it. And what I would say is as we go through this first model, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to do your numbers, what you actually want to net. Okay? So from this, because you have it in there, I can erase it. What do? We split it into buy and sell. How many of you are 50-50? Like truly 50-50. No, but who's buyer heavy? Okay, who's listing heavy? Okay, so your numbers are going to be different than this, right? Because this is truly a 50-50, or well, I guess it's 40-60. Which a lot of people are usually 70-30, especially when you start business. Sometimes it's even 90-10, right? So if it's your first few years or you feel like you're over on one side, don't venture too far the one way, right? Unless you're really willing to go to a system and model that's going to shift your business a lot, right? So just be aware and maybe go look and say, okay, who did I have more of this year? If I did 24 and I had 3 listings and this many buyers, I'd like to have X and then figure out that percentage. Fair? All right, who wants to do the sell side? So 182. 40% of the 182 equals what, Kevin?
73.
73 total seller listings. Okay. Conversion rate. We're going to divide for conversion rate. Right now, listings sold, what's the conversion rate of a listing going on the market? So out of 10 listings, how many of them sell?
7.
Well, I'm asking like right now in real life. Yes, 7 per here. Do you believe it's 7 out of 10 right now in our current market?
Hopefully it's higher than that.
9.5.
Good for you.
There's always room for.
You're you though.
I would honestly say in the market that we're in right now with the inventory that we have, we're probably at like 85. Quite honestly, because there's some that just sit or they're not really serious about selling. I would say previous years, we were probably at like 95%. Like truly, if the listing it hit the market, 95% of them sold. I would say we're creeping a little bit closer to this. On here it says 70%, right? But if you're working a certain area or you're, looking at your own numbers, I would actually look at both. I'd look at your own numbers and I would also look at the area that you're working. So if you're, hyper focused in a specific neighborhood, go pull that up for the last 12 months and be like, how many listings were taken and how many listings were sold? Because that's going to give you a really accurate number of reality of what's happening right now. And then you can also kind of say, okay, at the beginning of the year, what did that look like? What does it look like now? Right? Because, it shifts throughout the year. Fair? So what is this? If we have 73 and we divide that by 70% for the conversion rate, how many total seller listings do we need? Like my handwriting right now. So you need 104 listings. So now this is always where I feel like people become a little too lenient with this conversion rate. So now out of 10 listing appointments that you guys are taking, how many of them sign the listing? On here it says 8. When you go on a listing appointment, how many of them sign the listing?
Mine used to be 100, and then I realized that I wasn't really working. I was just taking the easy fruit. And so it's
That you weren't going on enough appointments?
or I wasn't like really prospecting. I was just waiting for people to be like, pick me,
Come list my house.
pick me. And so I have challenged myself to get to 80% instead of 100 because that means I'm working. I'm stepping out of my comfort zone. I'm not being
You're
lazy.
going to find the listings versus I'm gonna wait till they come to me.
Right, I'm not being lazy.
Okay. That's an aggressive word, but I'll let you.
Well, it's a
Yeah.
self-realization.
So when you're doing this, if you are truly lead generating leads like you can, and you're at 90 or 80%, I'm not saying you're not good at what you do, but if you're at like 190 or 90 to 100%, you're not actually going on enough listing appointments, right? Especially right now, because the best listing agents are not 90% of their listing, because some of them you're not going to want to take. Some of them they're gonna ask you to work for pennies. Like that's a real thing right now in the landscaping of what the market looks like, right? So this is at 80%. So if we take those 104 listings needed, an 80% conversion rate, what is that total for seller appointments needed? 130. Okay, so then we divide that by 12 months, which gives you how many per month? Then we divide that by 4 equals how many a week? 3 a week. If we are really honest, 3 a week of listing appointments, look, does that seem like out of the ordinary? Are you like, I am stacked busy? But this is a live question.
Not if I'm working full-time.
Not if you're working full time. Anybody else? Does anyone else have like a gut reaction to 3 listing appointments a week?
Well, it's more than I'm doing.
Okay.
Thought needs to go into finding those 3 listed appointments a week.
Okay. Who would like 3 listing appointments? Okay. I look at this and I think every time since I was a baby agent in 2010, John, I look at this number and I'm like, why am I not doing that? Even if you have an hour appointment, even if you had a 2-hour listing appointment, this is 6 hours of a week. And that's like on the long side. You should never be doing a 2-hour listing appointment, by the way. Like, get out of there and stop talking. Okay, like, whatever you're talking about, But this seems very manageable, right? And you guys, I'm gonna tell you, a lot of times when we go through this, it's like not even a whole number of how many listing appointments that you need in a week. And that's what I'm gonna ask you. Are you in this full time? Do you want it full time?
I think at that point, it comes down to what part of the business are you doing? Are you doing all the transaction coordination yourself? Because that changes your time.
I'm not even talking about buy side. I dare you. Like, you're not. If you have a system in place to list these properties and you list 3 houses and go on 3 appointments a week, you are not going to be working more than 40 hours a week.
True.
Do you know what I mean? So like that piece, this is the easiest piece for you to actually do without expending your time on travel, on showings, on all of the things that buyers have. That if there is one thing you want, the reason we say like focus on the listings. You could do most of this right from the office. You could do this on vacation and no one's gonna know any better. Right? Because I'm gonna ask you, how many times do you actually go to the listing? Let's be honest. Let's be honest. How many times do we go to the listing after we get the listing contract?
I go a lot.
You do staging though.
Well, I feel like you're, it's so funny because you're up there saying like, that's 3 listings a week. That's no big deal. I'm looking at what does that turn into after all the documents are signed? Because I do everything myself and I
But-
have yet to leverage anything. I
But-
have not used
That's
Profile.
why I said
Not-
it depends on how
Right.
much of the business you're doing.
Right,
How
so-
Okay, so give me a rundown. What do you do for all the listings?
A lot.
And I'm not trying to be, I'm not putting you on the spot. I'm really just trying to allow us to say, okay, what are we doing, right? Where can we become more efficient? And what would be best spent hiring something like if you don't want to do staging or that takes up too much time for you not to get the other 2, right?
Right.
Or if after the paperwork's done and all of the other things, how can you leverage something else, even if it's a part-time assistant in
But
some way, shape,
some
or
of the joy I get is doing, like that's where.
And
I
that could be your, that could be your choice, right? You're like, I don't want this.
Right, right, but whereas like the leveraging the profile and stuff, that is more of a me not knowing how to like relinquish control. I'm afraid that if I'm not doing it, it's not gonna get done. And so I just take on too much, and then, so I'm not like pushing myself to get more business because I'm trying to micromanage what I can.
Yeah. I also want everyone in this class to know that your goal is your goal, right? But I also want you to realize this wouldn't be unmanageable with the right systems in place, right? If this is not what you want, you don't need to have this. But I do want you to know this is absolutely attainable. And if the place that you're in, I would highly recommend you talking to Jose. I talked Jose off a ledge probably for 3 years. Because if you want to talk about a control freak, okay, like of hiring an assistant, just one, because at the time he was doing what, 70 transactions on his own, taking them from start to finish, everything from getting them pre-approved because his lender didn't speak Spanish, all the way to the end to like doing all of the closing paperwork because his closer also didn't speak Spanish, right? So he was in the office at 6 in the morning and I don't think he left until like 11:30 at night. No joke. It was probably 2 years that I did this, 2.5 years he was in accountability. And he finally hired an admin. It was like 6 months later, he hired another one. And he was like, I don't know why I didn't hire sooner. And I like almost flipped the table because I was like, he's like, well, I didn't think anyone could do it as good as I did. I was like, you're not even doing it great. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, you're not even doing it great. You just feel like you can't give up that control. Right? And then it was like, oh, yeah, this person actually does it better, right? So I'm like, go talk to someone, like, because people go through that all the time. Like, I can't give this up. Heather knows I have issues with that in a lot of areas of my job right now. And we're working on that and we're working through that. So we all have that stuff, right? I just want this, and when you work through this, that any goal that you have is actually very attainable with the help of figuring out how it doesn't have to take up so much time. Because 3 buyers and 3 listings, if you have the right systems in place, are light years difference of hours, like hours on task. Different kinds of hours, right? But this one, you can be anywhere doing. The other one, you're doing a whole bunch of it, and you're running around, and you're having gas, and you know what I mean? Like, that expends a lot of energy. Fair? Does that make sense? Like, by the way, we are past time, so I'm gonna finish this side, and then if you guys have any questions, I just want to be conscious of your guys.
And you guys, I have a full Excel workbook with this economic model on it that I could send to anyone. It's a great Excel workbook. It fills in automatically and yep, it works great.
And if you guys don't know your numbers and want to work through your numbers with me, we can print out your multi-year trends and do it together. All I need you to do is shoot me an email so that we can put a time on the calendar to do that. Because sometimes you're like, after I walk out of this was great, but I'm not gonna do it. Right? So if you have that feeling that that might happen, go on your phone right now and just send me an email right now and say, check in on me in a week. Like truly, if you feel like this is not gonna be done because you're gonna walk out and not implement any of it or go through it, send me that now, and I promise you I will follow up. And if it's not done, then we can set an appointment. Okay? All right. Let's whip through the buy side. So we got 60% of them are buyers over here. What is that number? 109 buyer listings, right? Okay, and that's a 65% close rate, which right now I think is incredibly high. Because from what I hear, a lot of buyers are like iffy currently. It's like, oh, they're in, they're out, then they rent again. No, I'm not moving, not unless I find the perfect house. So this I would actually lower for this like next year. I mean, I might even say like 55%. Like truly, right? So we got them at 65%, which is 168 buyers needed. Okay, out of the 10 buyer appointment meetings, how many of them do you sign? And this one, you have to sign them. Okay, so this is always a really difficult thing for me to say because people are like, oh, well, they're all signed. I'm like, that's because you showed homes to people that never actually bought, so you don't really get to call them a buyer, right? Like, how many actual buyer appointments do you go on and they buy or they sign the buyer documents? On here it says 77 out of 10, right? So we're at 70%, which equals how many buyers appointments are needed? 240, right? So we go down into 12 months. That's 20. And that's 5 per week. Okay, now you add these two things together, that's a lot of appointments a week. That's a lot of appointments a week.
Unless you're duplicating.
Correct, buy sells. Yep.
Or you have a buyer's agent.
Or you have a buyer's agent.
Say you have $350,000 of operating expenses.
There's someone there. So if you guys ever come to the ALC meeting, you're gonna hear these two things are very different for everybody, right? Bethany's team goes on usually 8 to 12 appointments a month, no, a week. Zerks go on about 4 listing appointments, 3 or 4 buyers appointments, so about 8, right? Jose's going on usually about 8 to 12 solo with a buyer's showing assistant, right? So I want you to be very conscious of what they say in the next meeting, because I think it would be interesting to see it in real life when you can actually say, okay, this is 8 a week. This is, this is netting 500,000 with this amount of operating expenses. This is what their grocery CI is, right? And it can help you as you're listening to those as a real business conversation, right? Who's excited to do their numbers? Like, I hope you are all like incredibly excited, because if there's one thing, why is this falling down?
No idea.
Should I just like back up into this thing and like make it fall? This is all opportunity, you guys. And right now in this market, there's so much opportunity. I was just talking, I think I was talking to you. I don't remember who I was talking to, but people are going to need you in these next 6 months. And I think we might have our blinders on a little bit, thinking the market's going to stay the same in regards to what our conversations are. In my professional opinion, I think you're going to be coming up against some tougher conversations with people. And I think there's going to be short sales. And I think there's going to be people that don't want to sell that have to sell. And you might not like this taste in the mouth, but that's opportunity to be the best at having those tough conversations, because I know every one of you care about them, right? I'd rather have you guys having those conversations than someone who doesn't have arm pain and their arm is stretched really wide. Like, that's real though. I mean, I feel passionate about this because sellers are going to need us really bad in the next few years. And they're going to need to be handled with some care. So when you're writing these numbers, think about how many people you truly, truly want to help. Because I think that was discounted in the last 4 or 5 years, right? Like agents' worth was discounted quite a bit. And the fun thing about this market is your worth is going to be incredibly important. Your care, your expertise. So even if you don't want to go to that training, I tell you, you should go to the training. Right? Whether it's learning about stucco or short sales or whatever else it is, be a sponge for knowledge right now. Because I think we're all going to need it. In a really good way. Questions? Did you get one aha? Can everybody share one aha from today? Or one thing you're excited about. I don't care what the share is. I just want to make sure that this was worth your time.
Kevin?
Mine is, I took a picture of the big Y and Paige, and I sent it to Teresa, and I think sometimes she goes, I don't understand it. So to look through that together was my ahas. Let's do this together.
I love that. Yeah. Who else? Jordan.
I've never filled that out before, so that was good.
I love it. I'm gonna talk to your mom about that.
Yeah.
Just kidding. What else?
Excited about having a good model to just get going.
Awesome. What else? What kind of stuff?
What I'm doing and, and work on consistency. Some days it happens, some days it doesn't.
Love it. What else?
Models matter. And I can actually help more people if you follow a model.
All right, I'll let you have the rest of the afternoon.
Wants and needs to Lydia.
Oh, wants and needs to Lydia. I forgot this is partly the team meeting. Yeah, wants and needs to Lydia, and she should have those out by, what, 3 o'clock? After 3? Or give them
Probably a little
by
later.
3? And then it's
Yeah,
after
it's the
that.
last day of the
All
month.
right, have a good Tuesday. See some of you at Bold.